Okay, so welcome back to A&C, everybody. My name's Amanda.
And I'm Chris.
And today we're doing something a little different. We're reading a fan fiction. I found this one I really love, and I decided that it deserves all the attention it can possibly get. So we're gonna read it, and I've gone and put it into a visual novel maker to make it slightly more interactive and more fun for you to watch. So let's get started. Chris, do you want to read the summary?
Sure. Kidnapping wasn't what Aranea signed up for. But now she doesn't have a choice if she wants to keep herself and her men alive.
Being kidnapped wasn't what Ignis signed up for, but he doesn't have a choice at all.
Chapter 1.
Yep. Hour 3 over 49. Oh, and this story is called 49 Hours, and it's by ScribeOfRhapsody on Archive of Our Own. No. Oh, hell no. This had better not be what she thought it was.
I don't much like the look of this, Lady A.
Biggs echoed the same words he used a few hours ago when they'd first received their orders. Then he'd followed that sentence up with something along the lines of the details are pretty vague on this one. She'd noticed the lack of details too, but she'd brushed it off. When they needed transported? What they needed transported was probably just something classified they wanted to keep under wraps. And then she'd noticed the location on the pickup. Insomnia, the Crown City itself. Well, just outside the city, the orders said. Aranea and her men weren't supposed to go in. They were supposed to wait and pick up the Weasley little Tumlet and his men with whatever he was supposed to deliver and get them back to Niflheim. And that would be that. Wham, bam, done. And home for a drink before it got too late. Then Tumlet had signaled for backup, still inside the city, which of course meant Aranea was going to have to rescue his ass since they were the only ship in range. She expected to find him running through the city with his tail between his legs and clinging to some documents while the MTs covered his flanks from a horde of glaives or something.
Let's stop for a second and appreciate how funny that would look.
That would look very funny. She was not expecting to find him calmly standing around scowling in an alleyway at 1 a.m. as he stood over the form of some tied-up, fancy-dressed young Lucian who was glaring from beneath the messy bangs across his forehead. Aranea's heels clicked against the concrete in sync with Biggs and Wedge's heavier footsteps as she strolled down the alleyway. Loki, I'm about to ask what this is, and your answer is not going to be kidnapping. She purposefully used his first name and no rank because she knew it irritated him. Tumlet's mouth twisted like he'd bitten into something distasteful.
It's a package acquisition and delivery. Package?
Biggs repeated incredulously. Still don't know what that word means.
Mm-hmm. This isn't one of your robots, you know.
Biggs was sure right about that. The Lucian's very human eyes were locked on her now, observing and calculating behind the crack in the lenses on one side of his glasses. Huh, well, he seemed level-headed in the situation for someone in desk worker clothes.
I don't recall us paying you to think, Grunt.
Biggs bristled.
Excuse
me? Oh, sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, we colorfully coded this so we wouldn't do that, and we did it anyway. Hope you enjoyed. Excuse me? Okay, let's get one thing straight here, mate. I don't work for you. I work for Lady A. Fine, Highwind. Rein in your yapping dog, will you? Oi!
Wedge growled lowly. Astrals, she hated this guy. Aranea swiveled to face Loki, hands setting on her hips. Here's an idea, Loki. How about not biting the hand that's here to save your ass? Or are you forgetting that you called us for help? Tumult snapped his mouth shut, glowering. Out of the corner of her eyes, she could see the Lucian tugging on the ropes around his wrists, not trying to get out of them. It looked like just rolling his wrists to keep the blood flowing. Good grief, why were those ropes so tight? Was Tummel trying to make the guy lose his hands? So this is a kidnapping then? That's your mission? You better say no, you bastard.
Yes.
Tumlet said simply, as though it were no big deal.
Me and my men were to obtain him and the documents he was carrying, and see him to a secure location for questioning.
Questioning, right, because they don't know what he really meant by it all.
Who is he, anyway?
Wedge asked. Sorry, the way you read that made me giggle.
Well, you have an adorable giggle. Anyway.
Shush. Tumlet shot the Lucian a glare.
A nuisance. The Prince's advisor in training.
Aranea made a show of looking around. I don't see any documents or your men, and you smell like a fireplace. If possible, Tumlet's glare hardened.
There was a complication.
Aranea could have sworn she saw the corner of the Lucian's mouth turn upwards for a moment before Tumlet continued.
It appears the Prince is honing his magical abilities. His tutor here happened to have a contained flask of a fire smell on him. Most of my men were dead before they realized the danger, and the little whelp tossed documents into the flame as well. You'll gain no information from me.
The Lucian held his chin up high as he spoke for the first time in precise, accented words.
Subject me to what torture you will.
Tumlet replied by delivering a swift kick to the Lucius' ribs.
Keep speaking, and I will do just that.
The Lucian grunted at the impact, pulling his knees closer to shield his torso. Oh boy, this guy had courage. She'd give him that. Courage and training, and he was clearly good at keeping calm in a stressful situation, and a quick thinker. But she wondered how that would hold up under actual torture. Now that she was studying him further, she realized how green he was at this game. The classy white shirt and pressed vest and slacks didn't exactly scream of someone who's used to getting their hands dirty. Not to mention he was young. It was hard to guess an exact age in the dark, in addition to the swelling bruise around his left eye, but she'd guess early 20s for his age. Oh, and his leg was definitely broken. Wow, Tumlet broke the leg of the captive he needed to get out of the city. Brilliant idea. To be honest, it looks like you already started the torture. Aranea raised an eyebrow. You got something against zip ties? The Lucian's wrists were already dark with bruises and on the verge of bleeding. Tumlet scoffed.
I tried, but he escaped them. Twice! After that, I turned to other measures. If you're fishing for an apology, I'm afraid you're going to be disappointed.
The Lucian hissed.
Just as I'm certain your commanding officers will be in your incompetence.
Tumlet drew his hand back to strike the Lucian across the face, but Aranea cut in, grabbing his arm. Easy, hotshot. He's winding you up. Biggs laughed, shaking his head.
He's playing you like a fiddle, mate. What?
Tumlet demanded, yanking his hand free.
He can't talk if he's dead.
Nope, that's Biggs.
He can't talk if he's dead. Maybe we should have color-coded everyone.
Well, maybe in the future. Yeah, I'll color code Loki at least. I'll make Loki a different color next time.
Yeah.
But Big and Wedge will both be blue because they basically talk the same.
Yeah.
Wedge said flatly. Get it yet, genius? Aranea leaned closer to Tumlet, narrowing her eyes through the slits of her helmet. He's provoking you. You lose your cool and kill him, he can't give you information. Or even better, you misstep and the Lucian authorities get an advantage, you need to keep a cool head. Going by the subtle shift of the Lucian's jaw and the sudden glowering in his eyes, she pegged his plan pretty well. There was no way he had personal experience in this kind of situation before, but he was making very calculated and precise moves. He was trying to take control of the situation in whatever way he could, and it was almost textbook in the way he was doing it. Was a preparation class for this sort of thing required for the Crown's Guard, or was he just a very prepared person?
Or perhaps he just needs to learn to control his tongue.
Tumlet reached forward, yanking on the tie around the Lucian's neck and working it loose until he slid it off the guy's neck and stuffed part of it into his mouth and tied it again, effectively gagging him. Again, wow, Tumlet needed to resort to that to keep the Lucian from getting to him. She gave him an hour, tops, until the Glaives managed to catch him. Well, good luck with this, Tumlet. She jerked her chin to the direction they'd come from. Boys, we're leaving.
Excuse me?
Tumlet demanded. You heard me. She growled, letting her anger show for the first time. Look, you guys might have hired me, but I have a condition, and I sure as hell didn't sign up for kidnapping someone barely old enough to buy alcohol.
I'm 19, actually, though I guess take your assumption that I'm older as a compliment.
What the hell? Aranea almost snickered at the Lucian sitting there with his gag flopped around his neck like it had never been tightened at all. And secondly, 19? Hell, she hadn't been giving him enough credit. She couldn't think of him as a kid like she normally would someone of that age. He was handling things way too well for that.
Quiet!
Tumlet snapped at the Lucian before returning his fury-filled gaze to her.
I couldn't care less about personal issues, Highwind. You will do your job. If not, I will make certain you and your men do not leave this city alive.
By the way, quick interruption, I hope you like shouting, because let's say things don't go well for Tumlet, and he shouts a lot.
I will try and keep your ears from bleeding.
Yes, and try and keep your voice from, breaking as well.
Oh yeah?
Biggs stepped behind Aranea, backing her up.
You called us for help, mate. Remember that? What you gonna do to stop us?
Aranea would never be intimidated by this rat, but she did not like that smirk forming on his face.
Oh, personally, I can do nothing. But I'm certain my contact within the Glaives won't take kindly to this mission failing due to you choosing not to do what you were paid for. He's been very kindly leaving the Glaives in a search in the wrong places thus far. But I'm certain he can make sure the lockdown at the edge of the city was much harder to get past, should you try and leave without me and the package.
Damn it, of course he had a contact in Lucius. There's no way he could have gotten this far without one. He was incompetent on his own. That contact had probably given him the info on this guy to kidnap him in the first place. Probably been running the Glaives in circles to keep them off Loki's trail for hours. No wonder the Lucians haven't been able to track Tumlet down yet. Again, with the changing between Loki and Tumlet so frequently, it's like, choose one.
Please note this is our second time taping this.
Yes, we taped it once and it didn't come out well, so we're taping this a second time. And double damn it, Biggs and Wedge were here. Normally she'd take her chances at being able to sneak or fight her way past a blockade, but that wasn't their area of expertise, and she couldn't endanger their lives like that. She was in charge. She had an obligation not to get them killed on a mission as craptastic as this. Even if they walked away now and didn't go near the blockade, Tumlet could get his contact to make the Glaives chase after them while he slipped by.
Also, craptastic, fun word.
Yeah, I know. I love it though. Craptastic's a great word.
I know. It's so much fun to say.
Yeah. There were only two real options: kill Tumlet or help him. I vote for kill Tumlet.
Definitely kill Tumlet. Hang him with his own tail.
Yes. Oh, how she would have no problems with that first option. But having the whole Empire after her and her men was also not an ideal result. Tumlet's contact had to know she was in town. If Tumlet died without the Glaives' involvement, that guy was bound to put the pieces together. That only left her with one option that got her and Biggs and Wedge out safely. You'll want to watch who you threaten, Loki, Aranea hissed at him. We may, as you've pointed out, need you to get out of here now, but that won't always be the case. You'll find I don't respond well to blackmail.
No, you respond well to being paid, and I will see to that you. I will see that you are once we escape this wretched city.
Dear Ashtels, the gall of this guy. He threatened to have her and her men killed, and then he tries to placate her with promises of money. Yeah, like that was going to keep any hard feelings from being formed. She was a mercenary, sure, but it didn't work like that. A ringtone cut off her retort before she could even start to get it out, and Tumlet pulled out what looked like a stolen Lucian phone.
They'll be searching this sector soon. We must move.
Tumlet grabbed the Lucian's arm and tried to drag him to his feet.
Get up.
Aranea rolled her eyes. How do you expect him to move with us when you've broken his leg, dumbass? She pulled a potion from her pocket, pushing Tumlet away as she knelt down next to the Lucian. Well, at least you said it properly. This should heal right up.
I said it, actually.
The Lucian said, patiently waiting as she cracked the potion over his leg. The bruise on his face was washed clean. The swelling vanished as well. Huh, so maybe he was only 19. Also, I made some formatting errors, and I'm noticing them, and oh, they're so bad.
Also, just how incompetent is this guy?
Very incompetent. And just how competent is Ignis? Very competent.
Ladies and gentlemen, the polar opposites.
Yes. Of course you did. Aranea sighed, looking over her shoulder. Didn't really think that one through, did you?
Spare me your self-righteousness. Know everything, comments Hidewind, and get that rat to his feet so we can leave. Pot calling the kettle black.
Tumlet continued looking at his phone.
Looks as though we'll be taking the sewers to go beneath the patrol. Oh goody, sewers.
Big's tone dripped sarcasm. Wedge moved over to stand by Aranea as she pulled the healing Lucian to his feet.
Are we really going along with this lady? Handing a kid over to be tortured and killed? I'm not a child.
The Lucian groused. Another word I don't know. Shh. Aranea tried to hush him before lowering her voice. Look, Wedge, I'm not happy about this either, but the asshole has got us backed into a corner. We go along for now.
Right.
Wedge nodded.
Whatever happens, you know you've got our support.
Of course she did. That's why she wouldn't let them die on her watch. Right, let's go. Aranea directed the Lucian forwards, not missing the gleam in his eye. Clever guy, he was already forming a plan, she could tell. He was going to use their hesitance on this mission to his advantage. Great, now she's going to have to look out for that too. She didn't want to turn the guy over to be tortured, but if it came down to his life against Biggs and Wedge, she would choose her men every time. Still, she had to wonder about this clever guy. What led someone so young who lived behind the safety of Insomnia's walls to be this sharp and collected in this kind of situation? What kind of life did he have?
The end.
And that is chapter 1, all done!
Yep, that was fun. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yes, I definitely hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you in chapter 2, although it might take a little longer if I have to format more colors for speaking. Goodbye.
And good night.